to be validated.
A 3,
A 2,
a 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Read This, Read That. I am Jackie Reid.
I'm Joanne Reid.
What's up, cousin?
Girl. I'm here. I'm in the cut.
I hear you.
Like the old folks say, I'm in the world.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, we start the show off with some really sad news. The Reverend Jesse Jackson has died. Everybody's been talking about it all day long, everywhere. He was 84 years old, had been dealing with Parkinson's late in life, and leaves behind him a tremendous legacy of civil rights, social justice, and so many things. Joanne, when was the last time you saw him, or do you remember the last time you saw him, or the first time you interacted with him?
Yeah, I mean, that's the last time. Well, I'll start from the first to the last. The first time I am cognizant of Jesse Jackson, I was 3. I don't have a lot of memories of being a little kid. You know how you have like very spotty memories of your childhood?
Yeah.
Some of within my spotty memories are the time that my sister got out of the crib, and so I got out too and fell on the floor, and June ran outside and came back and said, Mommy, the baby fell out of the floor. I was probably like 18 months, 20 months. I just remember that vision of falling on the floor, and then June going, Mommy, the baby fell on the floor. That's one. And second one, the Jackson 5 cartoon. I vividly remember sitting in front of the TV and watching the Jackson 5 cartoon. That cartoon was like growing up. That's what we watched. And another one is Jesse Jackson. In 1971, he was on Sesame Street. And the first time I was cognizant that there was a Jesse Jackson is he was the guy on Sesame Street doing I am somebody. Yeah. I am somebody. And we used to do it in school too. We used to do this program in Denver Public Schools would send us downtown to do these like empowerment programs as kids, but it included stuff like square dancing. It was a weird program where we learned like the hustle. We learned square. And one of the things we would do is we would do the Jesse Jackson, I am somebody. So I just knew of Jesse Jackson as the I am somebody guy and the guy from Sesame Street. And then all of a sudden he ran for president in 84 and I was in junior high school. And I was like, the whole family was so excited. Then he ran in 88 and that was my first person I voted for. I voted for him in the primary, was so excited, thinking he was going to get the nomination, and then went to Dukakis, and I had to vote for Dukakis. So I was a big Jesse Jackson. And then when he kind of anointed Sharpton, I became a Sharpton person, So I think for our generation, he was like our king. He was our Dr. King because we missed Dr. King. He was already dead by the time we were alive. So that's the first time I saw him as, when I saw him as a little kid, as a 3-year-old on Sesame Street. The last time I saw Reverend Jackson was at the Democratic National Convention, the Kamala Convention, sitting there waiting to start. Me and Alex Wagner, we're in our little set, getting ready to do our thing. And all of a sudden they wheel him in. Mark Thompson waves at me and he says, Reverend Jesse's here. So I get up and go over, give him a hug. That was the last time I saw him. He was also at Selma, the Selma convention earlier that year. He did come to that convention. He was in his wheelchair. Reverend Sharpton was pushing him on the bridge. And those are the last times I saw him. And then there is one intermediate time I did see him. You'd see him at everything because he would go to everything, even when he was there. There he is at the convention. So there you can see Reverend, you can see me running up to him in my little red suit. And I went and gave him a hug, and there's Mark Thompson. You can see him there in the picture as well. Everyone's just swarmed around him. He then went on stage with Reverend Sharpton and also with a bunch of other civil rights folks. And they gave him his due because he was in Chicago where he lived. He's South Carolina and Chicago, so he got huge applause. There he is at the 1988. I think that's the 88 convention where there he is with Rosa Parks. So, that was that was the year I got to vote for him. He was, an icon. And and there he is. This is me, and you can see Reverend Jackson there, and that's Reverend Nelson Rivers that's there as well. And this is when they were taking down the flag in South Carolina in 2015. You can see my black hair. My hair was not blonde at the time. And so, those are my Jesse Jackson memories. What about you, cousin, sister, soror friend?
Yeah, I don't have photographs because throughout life I've been terrible at taking photographs. But the first time I met him was, of course, I knew who he was. Growing up in a place like Atlanta, where before it became a national holiday, we were at the King's Day celebration parade every year growing up. So the first time I saw him was as a reporter in Houston, Texas. And he was touring a campus there, and I was in a pool of reporters interviewing him. And that was pretty cool. And the next time I saw him, I was working with Tom Joyner, and I was covering the Jenna 6 situation with those kids. And he and Al Sharpton came into town, like rock stars, to help those families and those young boys with that situation. And I would see him, when I was at BET, I lived in DC. So I would see him here and there at various events. Got to interview him over the years. And I'm trying to think of the last time I saw him, because I've seen the last time I think I saw him was at Luther Vandross's funeral. I was sitting, next to Al Sharpton. Gayle King was in front of me, and he was, in the audience there. And I think that was the last time that I saw him in person.
Yeah.
But what a legacy that he has left behind with the work that he's done. So it'll be interesting to see how the funeral services will be covered.
Yes.
Who will carry it? Who will carry it live? Will BET do something? Will the cable news networks do something? I know Donald Trump posted something to recognize the fact that he died. I don't want to say
and make it about himself,
but made it about himself, but also in there mentioned in his Truth Social post that Jesse Jackson hated, and I'm paraphrasing, maybe he didn't say hated, but did not like Barack Obama. And it's just like, this man, Trump, just has no class. I mean, just no class at all. We saw that with Rob Reiner and other things, but it's just like, he has no idea what it means to be presidential at all or respectable.
No.
But anyway,
and the way the media has whitewashed, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow on the Joy Reid show. The way the media
go ahead.
has whitewashed the way that he went on about the death of Reverend Jesse Jackson. The fact that they're sane washing it across the media and making it sound like he was among those who paid tribute. Right. That is BS. He did not pay tribute to him at all. He went on a rant and said he had street smarts. Yeah. He was even racist toward Jesse Jackson in death. How embarrassing. And Reverend Jackson was a controversial figure. I mean, he rescued people from overseas. Like, he was responsible for flying overseas to bring a Black airman home. He had controversies there.
I covered that story. I was in Texas.
Did you cover that?
That happened. I was there with still Jackson Lee when that happened.
That was so amazing. I mean, think about it. Just a regular civilian, to the point where the Reagan White House had to kind of acknowledge, they had to bow down and be like, you went and got that Black man home, and they had to give him credit where credit was due. Yeah. And and people who love Bernie Sanders, he was Bernie Sanders before Bernie Sanders, including free Palestine. That was in his whole agenda in 88 and in 84 was equal rights for women. He was for the ERA. He was for LGBTQ rights. Nobody was for gay rights. That was just not a thing. They didn't even use the term LGBTQ. That didn't even exist. He was gay rights before it was cool. He was for having a woman on the ticket before it was cool. He was for free Palestine before it was cool. He was literally, in his 88 and 84 campaign, he was for reparations. Nobody was for that, Yeah. And the controversies he had, the quote, the High Me Town quote, that was one of those things where I think if you look at it as a journalist, the one source on it, the person who wrote it, journalistically, it was such a sketchy story, but it became linked to his legacy forever. And then of course the controversies over what he did on the day Dr. King died, and whether he aggrandized himself. There's been a lot of reporting on that it seems that the King family definitely felt that he stepped in to try to scoop up literally the legacy of Dr. King and run with it.
Well, what he was accused of specifically was taking Dr. King's blood and wiping it on his shirt.
Correct. And then walking around.
And then going and doing television interviews.
That's right.
But I know you're going to get into all of this.
We will.
So you're going to do a special, the Joy Reid show tomorrow.
Not a whole special, but we are going to dig into it. We got some. We're racking up the historians. We're gonna start off the show with it. We're gonna get into all of his legacy. But I think the bottom line of what we can say is this man was an absolute legend. Barack Obama would never have been president without Jesse Jackson. That's just period, point blank, the end. And I'm happy to just end this by saying the families did reconcile in the end. There was a breach between the Obamas and the Jacksons, but in the end, you know, they came back together. Reverend Jackson, President Obama did go to see Jesse Jackson. So he did see him before he died, and they did reconcile. So that's a beautiful thing. And he gave a very beautiful tribute, including acknowledging that, you know, the Jacksons were a part of Michelle Obama's upbringing in politics and in life. So don't believe Trump when he says that they couldn't stand. That's not true. In the end, they came back together.
Okay, so you guys be sure to make sure that you check out Joanne's show, where she'll go into more details about Reverend Jackson and his life and legacy. But we want to remind you, while you are here today, drop a comment on what you remember about Jesse Jackson. First time you saw him, last time you saw him. Somebody said earlier, we put the comment up that they saw him last in his yard, but in Washington, D.C., because they lived near him or
wow,
where he lived. So a lot of people have been, you know, so keep that coming. And also, you guys, be sure to like and subscribe to us here on YouTube. And we're also live on Substack. So, hey, to the Substack family, be sure to like and subscribe, you guys. And again, Joanne on her show will cover more of this. That's why we're not going to get into it too much today.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do that over there on the political show.
On the political show.
We'll do that over there. But we are going to get into.
I hope Abby Phillip, by the way, is getting a lot of calls over there at CNN. Let's see if
she wrote that book, right, on Jesse.
She wrote her book. Let me go and get it right here.
I'm sure she'll be making the rounds.
I certainly hope that the bosses at CNN are giving Abby Phillip her due and booking her across. They should be booking her network wide to talk about her book.
Yeah, like I hope they book her without Scott Jennings. I hope they don't make her go with Scott Jennings in tow.
Please, God. And you know, and I'm saying only to say that if Jake Tapper had written a book about Jesse Jackson, he'd be on all day and all night at CNN.
Yeah.
So let's just see. I hope that they're doing her right.
I hope so. I don't watch CNN, so I don't know. Anybody who's been watching CNN today, let us know if Abby has been their go-to expert on air when it comes to the death of Jesse Jackson, since she just released this new book. You're right, though. You're absolutely right. It would be appropriate. It'd be interesting. I would say that's not the case, but hey, I don't mind being wrong.
We're cynical a little bit
from time to time. So what is your wind down, madam?
So and it's interesting because my wind down was actually going to be that I just came back from Chicago. Had a really great trip to Chicago, and we were actually talking about Jesse Jackson. Interestingly enough, this was this past Friday. The days are already this past Friday. We actually were in Chicago. This is actually where we did our interview, which I know we're going to talk about tonight, with Hakeem Jeffries. That was actually done while I was in Chicago. The daughter and I were in Chicago because I was actually speaking at St. Sabina Church, which is a very, very famous church. Father Michael Fleger, who you might have heard of, who's one of the activist pastors who came up, when Barack Obama was coming up in Chicago, politics was very influential over him, although there was like some distance there once Barack Obama was seriously running for president. I also saw Jeremiah Wright while I was there, another of our elders who I want to say is like 94. He's in his 90s. He's very elderly. The great Jeremiah Wright, who's literally also an American hero who served his country in the Vietnam War, unlike Donald Trump, and then who came back and was he might have served in Korea, I'm sorry, and was a decorated member of the military, and then actually even was part of the group that tried to treat John F. Kennedy. And then he was just maligned for this speech he gave, where he was basically quoting Dr. King's speech, where he talked about God may not bless America, God may damn America. Everybody was like, oop, distance, Barack Obama, distance. But he's one of the greats also. So I think we have to really sort of wrap our arms around our legends, people who are doing the good work. And Father Fleger, my wind down is anything y'all ever thought about Father Fleger. He's 10 times funnier, cooler. This is like the most, what the young people say, based. This dude is hilarious. He's the spiciest white person I've ever met in my life. My definition of spicy white is Father Fleger. He was hilarious. He was cracking jokes. He was talking about, he was talking about, oh yeah, we serve communion. I don't know if we have any bourbon, but he was literally like if I had it, I'd offer it to you. Like, he was so funny, but he was so real. And it was just interesting being in a Black Catholic church, but that had like gospel vibes. And it's like the pastor, the members of the church are basically all Black. He's like the only white guy, but he's so woke. And he was like, I don't care what anybody says. He says, if being woke is being wrong, then let me be wrong. He said he done got fired from the church multiple times for being woke when they told him to stop. He doesn't care what anybody says. He's like, I don't care. I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. And he is as real could get. So I had a really great time. Want to big up the church, St. Sabina Church, and Father Fleger. The church is gorgeous. We're going to go back and do a proper interview with him because, I think one of the challenges white people have when we talk about history, especially Black History Month, they get in their feelings sometimes because they feel like they're the villain. But I think that's because you're not identifying with the right people. There's a whole history of people like Father Fleger. If you just identify with them, you won't feel like the villain. So just identify with the woke white people, and then you'll feel better about yourself.
Not even just the woke white people, but I think a lot of white people need to ask themselves, what are you doing? I think there's the guilt because they're not involved in making things better, right? They think we're post-racial and they've gone on with their business. And so they're like, why are we still talking about slavery? Why are we still talking about Black people not having enough? What are y'all complaining about now? Because they're not doing the work. They're not on the ground. They're not connecting. You know how white people say, well, I have that Black friend. They have one Black friend. They really don't interact with Black people, not just woke white people like Reverend Fleger, but just they're not in the trenches doing the work. They're not connecting with Black people on a real level where they can really try to better identify with what we're going through day to day. They just keep it really superficial, right? In the office, hey, maybe I'll invite you over to my house for this, that, but they really have no idea, nor do they care to know more about what many of us are struggling with or what we're going through.
No, you're absolutely right. And in this case, this person embedded himself in the South Side of Chicago, in a community where he's the only white person in his community. His whole staff is Black. All his aides are Black. Everyone around him 24/7 is Black. And so he's having this experience that's so unusual for a white person. And he was talking about just his upbringing and stuff. We were just having this conversation. I'm like, this is such an unusual life for a white person to have lived that I think he's a fascinating individual. And so having that experience has given him a perspective that makes him totally comfortable, and also comfortable being very critical of other white people. And he just did. And I thought it was so interesting that this is somebody who's partly shaped Barack Obama, who's such a careful person and such a sort of, small c conservative in the way that he talks about the world. The Father Fleger, not that. No, he's like Jeremiah Wright, but white. They're basically the same person. And it's so wild. So, and I had never actually spoken to him, when I was writing Fracture, I wrote about him, but these are two people who were not giving interviews at that time. So I was not able to interview either of them, but had gotten to know them afterwards. And they are exactly like what you think they are. Both of them. Reverend Jeremiah Wright is just how you think he is. As he was throwing up his, he's a Q, so he had to we took a picture together, he had to throw up his sign and everything like that. As feeble as he was like, yeah, I'm about to do that. He is a trip. They are hilarious. So I had a great time. And we did talk about Reverend Jackson. And sadly, I was talking about the fact that I should come back and see if I can go and see him. But unfortunately, he has now passed. He had Parkinson's. He was only 84. I mean, he's
it's young.
10 years younger than my godmother, so that's somebody, that's not an age people necessarily pass at, but it's very sad he's gone.
Well, the Parkinson's definitely complicates your health on top of, being 84, but you could be a healthy 84, but Parkinson's, as we know, Zia Muhammad Ali and so many others struggle with it. It can be challenging. My wine. Oh, what are you drinking?
Oh yeah. So I am drinking, I think I drank this last week too. So this is this Trip Mindful Blend. This is my new It's sort of a non-alcohol, but it's so this is raspberry blossom. It's a lightly sparkling drink. And it's a low calorie, it's only 25 calories. It's very low carb. And it's got like the main ingredient that makes it healthy is magnesium. And it does not have high fructose corn syrup. That's the thing I'm trying to avoid in the year of our Lord 2026. So it's light and sweet, but it's not sweetened with high fructose corn syrup. It's got a little apple cider vinegar in it. It's got a little bit of grape, guava. It's got raspberry, lemon balm. It's actually very good. It's a light.
I'm glad. That sounds really healthy too.
It's like a champagne, but it's not champagne because it gives you a little bit of a, you know what I mean? It's not giving you a kick, but it's very tasty.
I love that.
What are you drinking?
Well, I have my cycling frog, also coming in at 25 calories with no added sodium or sugars. And it, of course, has one of my favorite things, THC in it. But this is the sour cherry.
You high. What you're saying is you high.
I'm getting there. I get high. I have a little label on.
That means she's high.
So cheers. I'm just getting started, but I'll get there soon.
Why did you don't like my music? Say I'll just stick with my lager. Peppermint tea in the comments too. Somebody said no tequila shots.
Oh, somebody said I'm drinking peppermint tea. Blessed or messy 6336 says I'm drinking peppermint tea. I know, who cares. All right, so my wind down is a follow-up on my mom. She did make it home safe. Went to made it to the garage that we like to go to. And if you live in the Atlanta area and you're looking for a mechanic that you can trust, please, y'all, DM me. I will let you know. This place is the truth. They are so good and honest, and it is so hard to come by. And so I love this place. My mom went over there. Not only did they have to change the tire, they had to realign some things going on all of a sudden. I'm not blaming anybody for the way that they drive, so we'll just let that be that, because she grown. But she made it home safely. Went to see Alvin Ailey twice this week with two different groups of people, girl. I can't.
It's out of control. I'm sorry. This Delta deer is out of control.
Out of control. She is always going somewhere and doing something. The other part of my wind down is a little bit of what I'm watching. And I know we're going to get into something that you're watching a little bit later in the show. But for my wind down, I decided to rewatch Blackish, which I haven't seen in years because, it's been off the air for a while. But from the very beginning, and I'm telling you guys, if you are looking for something that is funny and poignant and just really meets the moment of what we're going through now. And, it's Black History Month, but also, racism is at an all-time high. The show is not only funny, but very thoughtful about the Black experience. I mean, I am enjoying revisiting this show, and it is laugh out loud. It's on Netflix. You guys go back and revisit. I'm having the time of my life rewatching this show. And it's been so long that it really feels kind of new. Like, of course, I'm familiar with it, but it's been a while since I watched it from the very beginning. But right there from episode 1, y'all, this show just so good. And one last thing, girl, I'm back on Hulu. I'm back on Hulu.
You signed back up?
I did. You know why? Let me say this. So as a vegan, and as an ethical vegan, which means I do it for the animals, but also, love the environmental and health benefits of it, you end up just really boycotting a lot of things, a lot of companies. I'm already very selective about the things that I do because of my vegan lifestyle. I don't mind being part of something that is well organized politically, like Target. You'll never see me in Target. I'm not going to order from them, nothing. I'm done with Target. Target is dead to me.
Yeah.
But the Hulu thing, right, and Disney and all that started with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Right? Jimmy got his job back. Who's Jimmy taking money from? Disney and the likes, right? Yeah. They're paying him. Unless there's some, we did it so he would get his job back, or because they fired him, he's back. I'm back on Hulu.
I hear you. No, I hear you.
And I said what I said. I'm not doing it again. Unless there's an organized reason to do it.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Somebody said, what about Netflix? No, we're cool with Netflix. I'm still on Netflix. Netflix is really, really cool.
And we want Netflix to beat Paramount in that Warner deal because, Paramount Skydance is back in the running to get.
Oh, it's a whole thing between Netflix and who's gonna. Yeah, that's a whole thing. But I will say, I I'm all for being a part of something that is organized, right? With those who did the Target fast and all that, that was very well organized. I'm a part of it. I'm also all for anything that's really taking down Donald Trump and taking away his support. But I have to do it in an organized way. I don't see the reason to not be a part of Hulu. Black people going up in Target all the time.
They should not.
They get on my nerves.
Yeah,
they get on my nerves. But if we got to better organized as a people, like we did with Target. But for now, I'm back on Hulu and I have no regrets.
Okay, I hear you. I mean, I thought for a minute about getting back on Disney Plus because I really want to watch Andor.
Yeah.
And I can't watch it because I don't have Disney Plus. So, and they won't let us share subscriptions anymore. So one of our kids used to have a subscription and we can't use it anymore because and Hulu does the same thing. Like we used to share our Hulu with the whole family, which I don't see why you can't do that. I have a problem with these streamers saying you can't share your subscription with your family.
I know.
If I have a kid that lives in another state, I'm still helping these people pay their bills. So why can't I share my subscription with them? Why do we have to have 5 subscriptions for 5 people? That doesn't make any sense. Let us share. So I'm annoyed about that. And so I'm not back on Hulu. I'm not back on Disney Plus. But if I really, everyone's telling me how great Andor is and I want to see it. That's what could pull me back on. By the way, I just want to respond to some of the people in the chat, if I could, who are complimenting the progress of my dentifrice. They're saying you can see my teeth coming along.
How's the pain?
The pain. Well, so today is the first day of this of tray 7. So when I put it in, it was like
That's
somebody
going fast.
Punched me in the face, punched me in the mouth, hit me right in the mouth and put them in. I'm like, put them in like, So they get tighter. But these, so this is a rack 7. So you can hear me lift
rack 7.
But it's starting to look. I'm starting to see the progress. You know, my snaggle tooth is getting less snaggly.
I see that. Oh, wow. That's
slightly less snaggly.
No, it is. I mean, to me, it wasn't that. It wasn't. I could see if you didn't do it, but I can see the progress. I get why you want to do it. But a lot of comments.
I'll soon be George Michael, and you gotta have faith, the faith. Baby,
did you watch that documentary they did on him?
No.
Baby, listen to me. I'll look up and see it. If anybody's seen it, I saw it on a flight one time. Ooh, girl,
I love George Michael.
I loved his music. And if you love him and his music, you have to see this documentary. I'll look it up. And I'll put it out. I'll tell it to you in a minute.
Can I tell you this is my version of the Jackie Reid experience. You know, Jackie knows everybody and has been like in a car with Prince and everything. Like anybody, you mentioned a celebrity, she's like, oh yeah, I went to church with him, right? And so I'm like, okay, fine. Like, oh yeah, Jesus. Oh yeah, Jesus and I used to go to the same high school. I'm like, what? You know, so that's so my one version of that is one time I was in an elevator with George Michael, honey. This is when I took my year off college. I was off Harvard for a year, and I got a job working as a secretary at Columbia Pictures. And Columbia Pictures, this is when I was at Columbia Pictures and I left, and then I went to CBS for half my year. And so when I was at CBS, it was in the same building as Columbia Records, because CBS stands for Columbia Broadcasting Systems. So Columbia Records is like a sister company, at least it was, of CBS. So when I was working at CBS in standards and practices, we were in the same building as Columbia. And one day, when George Michael was on tour in the United States, this was in 1988, this man got in the elevator with me.
Did you say anything?
I was like, oh my God, that's George Michael. First of all, he smelled so good. Like he smelled better than any human being. And his teeth were like, ding, because I turned him and I said, oh, hi. And he said, hello. And smiled just like that. Hello.
Yeah.
He had a deeper voice and he had like the perfect like beard thing and he had the fluffy hair and he was so George Michael-y and super tall and super freaking crazy gorgeous. And he smiled, he said, hello, and smiled to the ding smile. That was it. I didn't have nothing else to say. I was just like, I glitched. I was like, did I.
Well, I asked you if you, and let me just say real quick, the documentary, Joanne, you have to see this. It's called George Michael Freedom Uncut. It came out in 2022. It is, and he narrated it for his death. It came out after he died, but it is so good. I mean, oh my God, chef's kiss. It's so good. So again,
every black girl was in love with George Michael because of Careless Whisper. The end.
Listen, they talk about so many of the behind the scenes of how the videos came together. Of course, they talk about Wham. They talk about post Wham. They talk about his last days. You got to see it. But again, George Michael, Freedom Uncut is the documentary. But I want to say
George Michael, Freedom Uncut. Let me write it down. Go on, keep talking. I'm writing it down.
I asked you what you said to him because it reminded me of, I'm the person that, there was one time where I was like in a group and face to face with Oprah Winfrey, and I didn't say a word. I didn't say anything. I was just frozen. And my feelings were hurt because she didn't say anything to me. Right. I was like, I'm just looking, and it was just like it was me and some other people like in a circle backstage at a Barbra Streisand concert at Madison Square Garden. Right. And, I know Gayle King. Gayle was like, hey, and Gayle was standing there with her and she was talking to me, but Oprah did not even look at me. And I tell you, it hurts my feeling, but hurt my feelings.
That has happened to me. Oh,
okay. But here's the thing. And the reason why I asked you, did you speak to him, is because what I learned is that a lot of times, and I learned this lesson from Prince, who I was sitting next to Prince at a party, and I'm trying to come up with stuff to say, and he was saying, that when you meet, he was talking about his mother-in-law, who was going to meet a celebrity. I can't remember the name of the celebrity, and he said to her, what are you going to say when you meet him? And she was like, I don't know. And he said, you have to be prepared for these moments. You have to be the one that says something like, is there a question or something that you want to ask? Right. And so I that is the one thing I remember about Prince, is saying, when you meet celebrities, it really is on you to kind of say something, unless they're eating or something like that. You definitely shouldn't intrude on their privacy. But in that moment, with Oprah, we were backstage at a concert. I wish I regret it now. I wish I had said something.
Yeah.
I've talked about having hurt feelings over it, but really, she's Oprah. I should have opened my mouth and said something.
It's so interesting you said that, because my original wind down, I forgot what I was going to do. My original wind down was, and it was that on my flight to Chicago, on our flight, Mandy Patinkin was on the flight. That was.
I thought you were going to say Oprah.
No, not Oprah. No, girl, no. Yeah, she will. You have to actually speak to Oprah, because if she doesn't know you, she ain't saying nothing to you. I've been on like lines where you're going through what do you call it, red carpets, and been like this close to her, and I mean, she probably had no idea who I was, but she ain't gonna say nothing to you. She
knew who I was.
She probably didn't know who I was, but I've seen her twice in those situations, and also I'm with people who are select. So it's not like I'm just like a person running up to her. I'm literally around other famous people, and she literally just looked right. I don't know. Oprah don't do me, but it don't matter. But bottom line, so Mandy Patinkin is literally, so it's me, the daughter, and then he's in the next row. He's in the solo seat, and we're in the 2 seats over here. And I noticed it's Mandy Patinkin. I'm like, and now I'm that person. Remember how we're always talking about when we're in public, do you want people to come up to us? Should people come up to us? Well, now I'm in the position. So I text my sister and I'm like, Mandy Patinkin's on the flight. She's like, oh my God, you have to say something to him. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to be that person. And she's like, you have to say something and tell him your sister said he's a hero. You got to say something. And I'm like, okay. So like, let me think of what to say. So I wait for the whole flight until the flight is over. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to say something. And it's literally, it's role reversal. Because literally when I'm on a plane, not that this always happens. I'm not trying to be like humble brag, but a lot of time when I'm on a plane, I'm the person that is somebody saying something to, right? But now it's him. So at the end of the flight, I get up and I say, Mr. Patinkin, you're what, and the thing, like you said, I thought of what I was going to say. So I had time to think. And I said, you're part of the Zohran Mamdani inaugural was brilliant. It left all of us in tears. It was so good when you performed with that, group of students. And he said, oh, thank you. And then a lady behind him started talking. So I'm like, dang, I didn't get to say my second thing. And so then when I got a second chance, because she stopped yapping, then I turned around and I said, and by the way, my sister, who's an actress in LA, she absolutely loves you, thinks you're a hero. And I also just wanted to say you were my favorite character in my favorite movie by the great and wonderful Rob Reiner. And, we all miss him and Michelle so much. And this is the moment where I realized he has no idea who I am at all. He goes, oh, did you know Michelle? And I said, yeah, I knew both of them. And he said, oh, yeah. He said, it's such a loss. They were such lovely, wonderful people. And then the lady behind him started talking to him again. Yeah. So then the guy who is one of the 2 stewards on the flight taps me and he says, and this is the classic ending to it. This should have been my wind down. The classic ending, he said, who is that?
What?
And I said, that's Mandy Patinkin.
What was he, 12?
No, he was an older black man, very, very lovely older black man.
Did Mandy not look like himself? Did he have like a hat on?
No. When I tell you he had no hat, he just was looking Mandy Patinkin, like long beard, furry hair. He was Mandy Patinkin in his ass off. He looked like Mandy Patinkin. It's like if he was an actor playing Mandy Patinkin. That's how Mandy Patinkin he looked. He was super Mandy Patinkin. So it was like a chain of not knowing who the hell this is. Mandy Patinkin didn't know who the hell I was, and the steward didn't know who the hell he was. It was like a chain man. The brother did not know who the Jewish actor. The Jewish actor did not know who the black lady. It was the circle of life.
Girl, how do you not know Mandy? Because I'm surprised he didn't know you, because he and his wife are so politically outspoken.
Well, I had on a hat, and I had a big like a hat.
Didn't you say I'm Joanne Reid?
I don't know, because he could have been like, who?
Like, no, you could have been like, listen, I'm a journalist. Not to say, don't you know who I am, but just to say, hey. I mean, I definitely introduce myself to people, because not as many people, I mean, you're so recognizable. So I don't assume that everybody who comes up to me knows exactly, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's true. I
that I go up to know who I am or what I do. So I definitely did. Yeah, girl, you should let him know.
I should have said that. You're right. That was yeah, I did. But it was just funny, because I just didn't want to overburden his time, because I could see everyone in first class was waiting to jump him. Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone was waiting for that thing to go ding, so people could start talking to him, because people were, and it's so interesting is that the same guy who didn't know who he was being, I mean, he's super nice to everyone. Obviously in first class, they're very solicitous. They're giving you, do you need more drinks? Would you like more stuff? And he was paying special attention to him. So, and now I'm realizing maybe he was just doing that because he was older.
Or maybe he's just good at his job. You know?
And yeah, he was super nice to everyone, but he had no idea who that was.
Girl, that is
circle of life.
Crazy. I did not expect that. Mm-hmm. Oh, girl, him and the princess died.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. That's when
the other actor kept saying inconceivable, and he says, I think you not know what that word means.
Love inconceivable. If you're out there, Mandy Patinkin, that was me that was bothering you.
Oh my God. I love that. I love that so much. Well, we want to say again, listen, you guys, we are almost at 70K here on Read This, Read That on YouTube. We are growing on Substack. Please subscribe, tell a friend, like, hit the thumbs up here on YouTube, and definitely comment and support what we're doing here. We are about to launch our membership community, where you can sign up for some exclusive content coming up. One of those things will be our book club, which next week we're having our first book club meeting. So a lot of you in the comments have been saying that you bought the book, If I Ruled the World. So Amy is coming back, and she's going to be on it, and we're going to talk about it in great detail. So listen now. Don't come if you haven't read the book and you are going to be upset about spoilers. Don't come, because we're going to talk in great detail about this book. So you guys push. Please subscribe if you're here and you haven't already, so we can get to 70K on YouTube here. But we appreciate those of you all who have been riding with us for so long, or if you're new to the Cousin Nation, we love you. We appreciate you, and thank you for being here.
And we see you, lemon heads. I keep seeing the little lemons in the side. That's the lemon heads. You know, when
they okay. I didn't see any lemons. Hey, y'all.
The lemon heads show themselves. They always pop that little lemon in there, let you know they're here.
I need something for the Joy Reid show. We need an emoji for that. So
we need a cousin emoji. Yeah, we're gonna.
I think it's just assumed.
What about the two little dancing black girls?
Yeah, maybe that's a good one. I like that. I like that. Okay, let's get into some issues you need to know. Some people were asking about the Hakeem Jeffries interview. That's second. First thing we're going to talk about is the SAVE Act. So let me say that, because it's heading to the Senate after passing the House with one Democrat who voted in favor of it. So I'm going to say about that. Okay, so here's what you need to know, and then I'm going to give you some of the details, and Joanne, please chime in when I'm done. So you have to have proof of citizenship. You guys, you need to know about this, and you really need to spread the word about it, because if you do not have your passport or your original birth certificate in hand or some kind of nationalization papers, you will not be able to vote in any upcoming national elections. Okay, so you have to have proof of citizenship in order to vote. And it's the things that I said: passport, birth certificate, or nationalization papers. No, the driver's license, because I researched this, that they made us get, right, that new upgraded driver's license. That's not going to work. You cannot use that. And so here's the thing that's really interesting. And this is why it matters to you and me, right? Whether you have those papers or not. This is why it matters, because it could really impact upcoming elections. So 9% of Americans don't have access to proof of citizenship. That's 21 million people. And it's a huge issue for people of color, independents, and young people, old people, married women. Joanne, you talked about this on the last show. If you have not changed your name from what's on your birth certificate to what's on your driver's license, passport, and all the, like, it could be a problem, right? It could really be a problem. If you got your passport and your married name, I think, I don't know how that'll work, but for married women, it's really a problem. But it would also purge voting rolls, which is the practice where they remove registered voters based on faulty data. And oftentimes those voters who have been removed have no idea until they show up to vote. It'll send election workers to prison. This is also in this bill, if they help someone register without correct documents. Now, these people who are volunteering, right, to help us participate in one of the most important things of being a citizen here in this country. And now they run the risk of being put in prison for, I think, at least 5 years if some mistake is caught in what they're doing. And I shouldn't even say caught, for doing their jobs. Right. For doing their jobs. And let me see, force states to share. Oh, and it will force states to share sensitive voting data, which, you know, at this point, the Justice Department is just taking it by force. I mean, or Department of Homeland Security, because look at what they did in Fulton County, Georgia. So there's that. Please chime in, Joanne, but those are the things that you need to know. So it's going to the Senate soon, and it looks like it may not pass the Senate. Chuck Schumer is saying it's going to be dead on arrival. So fingers crossed. But this is the second version of this bill. You know, they tried to pass it, I don't know if they tried to pass it last year, 2025, and 4 Democrats voted for it. This time only 1 did. So you know how I feel about it.
You know which one it is, the one in Pennsylvania who pretends to be a Democrat, but it's just basically Joe Manchin. So this is once again the attempt by Republicans to play out their longtime conspiracy theory that the only reason they ever lose elections, including to Barack Obama, they believe the only reason Barack Obama won election both times, the only reason Bill Clinton won, the only reason any Democrat ever wins anything is that millions of illegal aliens are voting. They just believe in their heart and soul with no proof. And by the way, their own think tanks, including the Heritage Foundation, which is who's behind Project 2025 and probably behind this law, they themselves did a study showing that there were like 114 illegal votes out of like 60 million or something. It's so rare that people who are foreign nationals vote in our elections. And usually when they do, it's a mistake. It's someone who's a naturalized citizen who's in the process of getting naturalization, who goes down to get a driver's license at the DMV and they're issued a voter card and they don't know that they can't vote. And it's very rare, because if you think about it, if you're undocumented and you go register to vote, you're probably going to get deported because it's a federal crime for a foreign national to vote in a U.S. election. It's already illegal. And so why would you think of this? Is the illogical piece of it. If you're already undocumented, that means you don't want documents showing that you're here working. Yeah. So undocumented people are going to go to the driver's license bureau where they're too afraid to get a driver's license and go get them a voter card. How are they doing that? So that's the part of it that's stupid, right? Then the second thing is not just a few, they think millions. Donald Trump thinks the only reason he lost California is that 3 million people, ironically enough, the exact number that Hillary Clinton won by. 3 million undocumented people voted for Hillary Clinton illegally. That's just stupid. But they can't accept that they lose elections. So they're always looking for a reason why, and they want to fix this problem. Cato Institute, right wing, says that's not a thing. Heritage says nothing, but they're doing this and also trying to basically make absentee balloting illegal.
Yeah.
In every state. So even if you're in Colorado where they do 100% absentee balloting, or Utah where they do 100% absentee balloting, or Washington State where they're very heavily absentee, they would try to make that illegal and they want to force every American to have to go to the polls only on one election day, not before, no more early voting. They want to force everyone into this maw of election day voting, where they then say you have to vote on our machine. Remember, a right-wing Republican now owns Dominion Voting, which is like 3/4 of the machines. So like, you're going to vote on the machine we tell you. You're going to vote with armed poll watchers watching you armed. And then the counters are going to count those paper ballots with armed poll watchers aiming weapons at them. In their mind, that's the only way you can have a fair election, because they think it's the same way they think Fox is fair and balanced. They think the only fair election is where everybody black and brown has to produce their original birth certificate and be under penalty of perjury, and the poll worker has to be under penalty of going to prison, and there needs to be an armed white person aiming a gun at them while they vote and while the votes are counted. Only then will Republicans believe that the election was fair. And even then they might come up with some reason why it was still stolen. This is a bullshit law. It's not needed. You have to attest under penalty of perjury that you are who you are when you go to vote. And as Jackie said, how many of y'all have a passport? A lot of black women do, because we be traveling. But they're about to disenfranchise their own people, because only 30% of Americans have a passport. Only 30%. Most people have never left this country. Most Americans have never left their town. Most Americans grow up, born, and die in the same town that they grew up in, and never cross the border into another state, let alone another country. Most Americans don't travel. Fewer Americans travel than even have college degrees, and very few Americans have college degrees. So what they're going to do is their voters, who are largely rural, many of them were born at home. Some people were born in like the 1920s and 30s when they didn't issue those kind of birth certificates. They don't have that information. And even if they did, you have to drive 100 miles to get it, and the place closes at 4 where you get it. Plus, the last thing I'll add is, if you can only use a passport, guess who controls whether you can get a passport? The Department of Homeland Security, which is run by Kristi Noem. So then they can decide if you can vote, because they'll look at your passport application and say, Jackie Reid, your history is being on read this, read that, saying Donald Trump ain't shit. No passport for you. Or they'll delay it until after the election. They will control whether you have the only kind of thing you can use to vote. That don't sound like a free and fair election to me.
Sounds like something the Democrats should be working on, just in case it passes. Sounds like this is something that they could do. But hey, that's just me being proactive, suggesting a little proactivity, being proactive. Okay, so I do want to say this. There's only, I don't think that the MAGA folks, actually Donald Trump and his cronies, actually believe that immigrants voting is a problem. I think they just want to disenfranchise Americans, Black Americans and people who aren't going to vote for him. You know what I mean? I don't think a
lot of them do believe it, though, girl. Go on their social media. They believe it.
No. I think a lot of MAGA followers do, the ones who just watch Fox News and we'll just leave it at that. But I think that Donald Trump and the leaders in his cabinet, I don't think any of them believe it. I think that they're just pushing that to do what they do and push fear and racism and all of those things to galvanize and organize their voters, right? This is their plan. This is why, they're strategic. They're strategic in how they move. This is it. They don't believe it. But I do want to say this. When I said that the SAVE Act passed in the House, right? It's on its way to the Senate. And we're talking about the congressman who voted for us. His last name is Cuellar. Cuellar. Okay. So I just want to say this about him, because he put out this whole press release, because a lot of people were criticizing him because he was the only
votes for everything terrible, by the way. He's just a Republican. He's a Democrat in name only.
Well, let me finish this. So he is a conservative Democrat, but get this. He's been serving in the House since 2005 and was charged along with his wife last year for bribery, money laundering, and conspiracy. And federal authorities allege that the couple accepted around $600,000 in bribes from an oil and gas company in a bank in Mexico. And guess what? Trump pardoned him and his wife in December.
Correct. And seen.
So why is he voting for this? Now we know. Yeah.
He's one of them.
Yeah.
And by the way, yes, Henry Cuellar votes for everything terrible. He's anti-abortion. He wants to put women in the Handmaid's Tale. You name it. He's that Democrat you can count on to be terrible. Just like what's his name in Pennsylvania? What's his name? What's his butt? The senator. Fetterman. He's basically Fetterman, but in the House. And the last thing I'll add is here's the other piece of it that's sneaky. Remember, the Heritage Foundation has the Esther Project, the next thing after Project 2025. The Esther Project is about bringing back the family and putting women back in their place. And you know they want to get rid of the 19th Amendment. They don't believe women should vote. Yeah. This is a sneaky way of disenfranchising married women. Because if you're married, and if your last name is changed because you got married, you're out of luck. And that'll also disenfranchise everybody trans who's changed their name. So these are people they don't want to vote. They don't want women to vote anyway. So their whole thing is they're going to disenfranchise their own voters. The thing that's so hilarious about it, let that thing pass. More Republicans would get hurt than Democrats. More Democrats have passports than Republicans. More Democrats are single women who've never changed their names than Republicans. They will, and the main trans person it's going to hurt is Caitlyn Jenner. Because Caitlyn Jenner named not Caitlyn Jenner on Caitlyn Jenner birth certificate. Caitlyn Jenner about to be disenfranchised. They're going to disenfranchise their own people.
Well, it'll be interesting. I hope it doesn't pass. I hope Chuck Schumer, I hope they have some kind of plan, or there's not something, that'll be in there that'll convince them to go ahead and vote for it, for 6 months or. Until we'll vote for it, but they promise we're going to revisit it later and and just put it up for a vote again or something. You know how the Democrats do.
We have somebody here, I don't know if they're joking or they mean it, right turn Clyde, who put in what is a woman. I love when people ask that question. Whenever somebody says what is a woman, I say your mama. That's the answer. Your mama.
Moving on, let's talk about our next issue, need to know issue, and that is, I couldn't call you fast enough after this one, Joanne's interview with Hakeem Jeffries.
She was texting me during it, by the way.
Oh, I was texting during. I was like, I got 4 words for you. I told you so.
Yeah, she had a whole rant, y'all. She gonna redo it now. Go on, do it.
No. I'm gonna let you do it. I've said my piece.
Are we gonna play clip?
I said my piece last week.
You did.
But no, it was interesting to see him on. I was, girl, I didn't have my popcorn or anything, but when I saw things getting a little heated, I said, let me pause here, go get some popcorn because I need to lean in for this. So Joanne had Hakeem Jeffries on. And what's his name? The journalist
Ali was my co-host for the first hour of the show. Tiffany Cross was my co-host for hour 2 because we were in Chicago. And so we were in a church and, we were not sure what the internet situation was going to be. So just protectively, we were like, we need to have a co-host for each hour. And thankfully, Wajahat was available to be the co-host in the first hour because he's somewhere with strong Wi-Fi. So in case my whole feed went down, Waj was there. And I don't think Hakeem Jeffries was glad Waj was there, but he was there.
He was not.
He did not enjoy him. And so we were like Batman and Robin. And he was, or good cop, bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop. And I had some, questions that I thought were relevant, which was, why not just abolish ICE? And I thought the thing that's so interesting is that neither one of us got answers to the questions. I thought I was, and I don't think polite.
From the Democrats who've been working on gerrymandering and all these things. No answer?
We didn't get any answers. And the thing that was so frustrating is that, I asked my question 3 times before Waj restated it and then hardened it and then asked his own question about AIPAC. There were only 5 questions.
Well, we have a clip.
Okay.
Can we roll that?
Leaders lead. And what we've seen is people are impressionable. If you lead on something, people will follow. It seems the wind is behind your back for the first time ever. ICE has a history. CPP has a history of terrorizing Black and brown communities. People are asking themselves, why are we, our taxpayer dollars, paying for masked, lawless men to terrorize our communities, kidnap people, take children, and kill Americans? So I ask you, and I'm doing a following up to Joy, because I want an answer to this. You said you want to rein in ICE. I'm talking about the long term now. Why not lead and say abolish ICE? Because what you're telling us is you want our taxpayer dollars to pay for a lawless masked armed agency to continue terrorizing our cities. And I'm trying to figure out how you, as a leader, can be telling Americans that their taxpayer dollars should be going to ICE.
I don't understand anything that you just said.
I spoke English.
I don't understand anything that you've just said to me when I've made clear that taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for the American people, not brutalize or kill them. That's the whole reason we're in this fight right now. That's the whole reason the DHS is getting ready to shut down. That's
So
the whole
abolish
reason
ICE.
why
You agree with me and Joy. Abolish ICE.
Listen, I'm going to use the language that I want to use. You can use the language that you want to use.
I was hollering.
He said, I don't understand anything you're saying. And first of all, I thought that was incredibly rude.
Yeah, it was.
Because why, and I don't know what that means. I don't understand. He said it very clearly. He said, I'm speaking English. I thought that was rude. And I also think just as a political man, I'm not here to advise Hakeem Jeffries. We're just journalists. Wajahat Ali is a former New York Times and CNN journalist. Okay. Wajahat Ali is not just some rando activist who I scared up in the street. I had two journalists filling in as my co-host, Tiffany Cross, former CNN, former MSNBC, former BET News journalist, and Wajahat Ali, journalist. And so I wanted there to be two journalists there. I wouldn't have put like an activist on with him to ask him questions. I put a journalist on. And so he didn't answer my question a couple of times because I had a whole list of questions. I said at the end, I had so many more questions to get to, but we ran out of time. We only got to two questions. Should you abolish ICE? Well, no, we got to three. Are you guys going to stick to your guns when it comes to the list of things you want to do to reform ICE? Should we abolish ICE? And why are you taking money from AIPAC? That's three questions. We did not get past it because I asked my question twice. I thought quite politely. And then Waj, I think, just had enough of hearing him just filibuster.
The word salad.
And that was his follow-up to my question, which this is what journalists should do. And I want to give this, what Wajahat did is what every single journalist in the White House press pool should do. If person A does not get an answer to their question, I think it's incumbent on journalist B to then take up that question and insist on an answer. When I didn't get my answer 2 times, Waj came in the 3rd time and insisted on an answer. That's all that happened. So people who are mad, they're saying we didn't jump Hakeem. He didn't answer my question.
Who's mad about it?
Wajahat jumped in and followed up on my question. Brilliant. That's what you're supposed to do. But then I didn't understand what you're saying. I don't advise politicians to go like that. Don't come like that. That's not the way that you handle that situation. You need to answer the question and then we will move on, but we aren't going to move on until you answer us. This is what journalism, I know y'all are used to mainstream media where they let you all give a speech and then they don't ask a follow-up. We're not on mainstream media. Papi Chulo, we expect an answer. And so when I didn't get an answer, God bless Waj for insisting on an answer. Then he asked his own question, which the crash out was worse when he asked about AIPAC. And I feel like, the leader was offended by this question, but it's like, you can't be offended by any question. You're in politics. It's a rough game. And, you're going to get, sometimes you have to answer questions that make you uncomfortable. So I don't advise politicians anymore. I worked in politics for a while, but I don't now. What I would just say, though, my free advice to politicians, whoever they are, just answer the question and don't get mad, because getting mad doesn't make you look great.
Well.
And you in the front.
I will say, this was exactly what I was talking about last week, that the Democrats are not ready to meet the moment. And people are all in the comments. You need to listen to Joy. Okay. Then he comes on your show, right? And
literally days later.
To me, at this point, how does he not know that he is going to be asked this question? And to think that he's going to come on to a show as prominent as yours, right, with 2 very credible political journalists and give a word salad and not answer the question. He did not answer the question because he couldn't. He couldn't. I would have had more respect for him if he was like, no, I'm not going to give up AIPAC money, or no, I'm not going to abolish ICE. And here's why. He couldn't even answer the question. It's why Dems cannot control the conversation. They are terrible at communicating. It is missed opportunity after missed opportunity. It's just like when Cory Booker, my favorite senator, went on the I've Had It podcast, and Jennifer Welch asked him if Benjamin Netanyahu was a war criminal. Word salad again. How can you even be on the fence about that? How is that not a strong yes, he is? And this was just a couple of months ago.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is why I'm so disappointed with the Democrats. I mean, I still want them to come up with a great candidate, and I want them to beat Trump. I want all of that. But they're not going to do it if they don't get their shit together. I don't care how many maps they redraw. If people aren't inspired to go and vote for them because they think they're full of shit, right? Or they don't take a stand on Palestine, or they're taking money from AIPAC. They don't want to, when the like most people in America are saying that we're sick of this. We are sick of this. And they cannot meet the moment. They're all over the place when it comes to voting. It's just like, come on. I have no confidence that the Democrats in the Senate won't vote to block the SAVE Act. Right. I don't have that confidence because of what they just did with ICE, because of what they did with healthcare at the end of the year. So, I mean, people get mad at me all they want to, but I'm frustrated by this. And when I saw that interview with Hakeem Jeffries on your show, I was like,
and she said that to me, and
look, I couldn't call Joanne fast
enough.
I was like, see, what did I say?
You're right. And here's the thing. I have been of the opinion going into this that in the end, the Hakeem Jeffries has the political skill to figure out how to get where he needs to go. I don't believe Chuck Schumer does. I think Chuck Schumer has to go. I think he has to retire. But now I am more on I have joined Team Jackie in saying that we're in a world of hurt, because I have asked Leader Jeffries this before, and did ask him that night, what is it that you're offering people affirmatively beyond Donald Trump bad, which we've done Donald Trump bad. We all know Donald Trump is a fascist. We know he's self-enriching. We know he's corrupt. We got it. But what are you all offering that says, if I put you in power, Representative Jeffries, if you are in power, and somebody's saying I showed a lot of restraint because I was in a church. So I was trying to keep it real. I was trying to keep it even. I was in church. But yes, they are not offering us, unfortunately, anything that we can say, if you put us in power, if you give us the gavels in the Senate and the House, you will then get this set of change. I think they really think that if they just say the word bold a lot and then say the word affordability a lot, that will be enough to get people off the couch and get them to vote for Democrats. People are going to vote against Trump and against Trump's party because they're so disgusted with Trump. But it needs to be enough people to get off the couch because they think you're going to give them something affirmatively. That is what Mamdani did. Mamdani just didn't say the word affordability a lot and say the word affordability and say the word change a lot. Obama didn't just say change, change, change. He said, I specifically will change your life with healthcare. I specifically will give you universal health care. When you say I'm going to give you change, it needs to be specific. People want to know, what are your deliverables? And what Hakeem Jeffries don't have right now is no deliverables, because he's saying ICE will tinker with it. AIPAC, we're going to take their money, but also I get these $27 over here. Israel, we still going to let this war criminal come to the United States. We're not going to do nothing about that. But, we're nicer to Palestinians than Trump. That is not an affirmative. People need to know, what are you giving me that's different than what I have? And I know Schumer can't do it because Schumer done. He has to retire. That's time for that to end. But we need the House, which is the more likely one to flip, to get real specific. Don't just say the word bold. Tell me, what is the bold thing specifically? What you're going to do. And you know what I suggested to him is bold? And again, I'm not here to advise this brother. But you know what will be bold? ICE never existed before 2003. You can get rid of it, y'all. Don't be scared. That thing didn't even exist before 9/11. And I'm starting to think the whole thing they did with 9/11 was manipulate our asses to create the Department of Homeland Security to start to steal our freaking liberties. All of a sudden, we get one terrorist attack. We've had terrorist attacks before. Now they can read our mail. Now they can bust in our home. Now they can, ICE can snatch you off the street and put you in a van. ICE came from 9/11. And we still taking our shoes off at the airport. We can't drink our soda to get on the plane. Y'all done disrupted our whole lives off of 9/11. 9/11 was 20 years ago. And so time has passed. We're good. We don't need ICE anymore. My mama is an immigrant. She did not have no ICE to get through to become an American. She had the Immigration Naturalization Service. Put that back in. So if you guys can't that's a minimum. It's polling at 80% with your base. Say, if you give me the gavel, I promise you that funding won't just run out in this weekend. It will run out forever because there won't be an ICE anymore. If you said that to me, I'd be like, I'll vote for you.
You know, it's so refreshing to hear you talk this way. It really is refreshing to hear you challenge these Democratic leaders.
I need a list, and I don't say it right.
I've been saying that.
I need you to say, who is your Attorney General going to be? You tell me it's Jack Smith?
But people keep saying, well, you know, Jackie, what do you want them to do? Nobody's paying me to be a political leader. That's what they get paid to do. Let them come up with it. Figure it the fuck out. It's not my job to tell them what to do. My job is to vote for who's capable of winning and who can get the job done. They're not doing it. It's not my job to tell you what to do. You're the politician. I'm paying you to do that. I'm no political expert, but I'm an American citizen.
That's right. And also, we don't have to really, it's not that complicated. This is like, if somebody put Ebony Noel talk about slave catchers, this is like being a politician in 1862 and saying the slave catchers are too violent. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make sure the slave catchers take off their masks. We're going to make sure that they show you some ID before they grab your ass and throw you and your mama and your baby inside of this cart, this horse-drawn cart, and take them down south to slavery. But we don't make sure that they do it under the color of law. We're going to make sure they're lawful when they snatch you. Other than saying, I'm an abolitionist, I think we should get rid of slavery. That would be like saying, well, get rid of slavery now. Now, come on now. We don't want to not be moderate. Let's try to be moderate. Let's figure out how to make slavery more palatable to the people. We'll make it palatable. We don't want to make it gone because, you know, that's disruptive to the economy of the South. You know, the South's economy is based on slavery. Let's not get too crazy here with this abolishing slavery stuff. Let's think of a moderate compromise that we can all come together on a bipartisan basis. Well, that would be insane. So instead, the abolitionists said, get rid of slavery. And that was a complete destruction. Do you understand getting rid of slavery collapsed the South's economy? Mississippi was the richest state in the Union before slavery and then was the poorest afterwards immediately. And so they knew if you got rid of slavery, the abolitionists were quite clear that it would destroy the South's entire economy. But they didn't say, well, you know, let's think of a moderate compromise in which slavery could be made less cruel. You know, make sure that you don't beat them once a week instead of 3 times. Give them all of Sunday off instead of half of it. No, they said, no, get rid of slavery. So it's like, we need moderation, ain't helpful.
Well, here's my problem with the Democrats, is that they're so busy trying to appeal to moderate Republicans, right? Instead of really leaning into the blue collar Democrats and the progressives, right? Who really are right on so many issues. Like, the Democratic Party needs to redefine its identity. I don't think the party really knows who they are and who they need to be to win. You know, it's just like, dude, with the Gaza thing, figure out the answer. With the Israel thing, like, you can't answer that by now. When it comes to demolishing ICE or just getting rid of defunding ICE, whatever you want to call it, you don't have an answer for that today. And you everything, what the fuck you been doing every day, day in and day out? If not prepared, you're gonna go. You know these interviews are scheduled. You don't know how to answer these questions. But that's the thing. I need if I'm voting for somebody, you said something in an interview. I think you were on stage on a panel, and you were talking about it was you and Jim Acosta and Mehdi
Hassan's panel. Yeah,
it was so good. And you were talking, and they were asking you, what would it take for you to vote for somebody? And you were saying, for you, they had to really be anti-Israel. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know what you, but that was something, and there were some other things. And for me is I'm looking for authenticity, right? Hakeem Jeffries answers questions in interviews like he is reading from a script, right? As I don't care what they ask me, this is what I'm going to say to this. And I'm not going to veer from that in any way. Like, I wonder who he is when he gets home and takes his shoes off and is just sitting around having a cocktail or whatever he does. Or does he go into the closet, unplug himself, and you beat about I'm like, where's the realness, dude?
Damn.
I mean, where? Like, who is he? Who is he when he is not in front of a microphone? Who is he?
Well, and also it's a staff thing too, because look, your staff is supposed to prepare. And by the way, the reason they're like this is that when they go on CNN or MS or CBS or they really don't get asked about Gaza. They don't get asked about it. Right. The few people who would ask them is me, Wajahat Ali, and Zateo. Like people, and also obviously, Crystal Ball and those ladies and the folks that I've had it. Like independent media will ask you that, right? Kyle Kilkinski would ask you, but they won't ask you on CNN. They don't care about Gaza on mainstream media. In fact, they prohibit those of us who worked in mainstream media from even really talking about Gaza. They dreaded, there came a point where we couldn't get anyone from the Biden administration to come on my show because they know I'm always going to ask you about Gaza. And by the way, if Watch hadn't been there, I would have asked him about Gaza. I hate to break it to you, but I ask everybody about Gaza because it's a genocide and I want to know where everyone stands. I literally ask every candidate where they stand on that. And you could literally, your staff could give you the talking point if you yourself don't feel comfortable of saying the International Court of Justice has adjudicated that what's happening in Gaza is a genocide. I myself am anti-genocide. Therefore, right, I don't believe that somebody who is accused credibly of genocide should be at the White House. And if it was my White House, they wouldn't be in there. You could say that. If you yourself don't feel comfortable criticizing Israel, just put it off on the ICJ. They done already ruled that it's a genocide and that they're doing apartheid. You black, you don't like apartheid, just say I'm black, I'm anti-apartheid. They done adjudicated these people doing apartheid. I'm against that. I don't, if you don't want to say anything negative about Israel because it makes you uncomfortable, or you have a lot of donors that are Jewish that love Israel, just say that, because all the Jewish people, I'm not going to say every Jewish person I know feels the way I do about what Israel is doing in Gaza.
Mandy Patinkin does.
Mandy Patinkin is Jewish. He agrees with me. So all the Jewish people I know agree with this. Israel is not the Jewish people. They're a separate foreign country. You do not have to bend the knee to them. Why do American politicians feel that they need to get on their knees and bow down to a foreign country? It's not our country. It's a separate country.
But meanwhile, it feels like they're running the United States. It feels like Israel runs the United States.
I don't get it. And AIPAC, they don't care about nothing else. They're running ads about ICE. They don't care about ICE. They're lying. They're going against your moderate members. You could say this. Let me give you another little thing. Back when I was a speechwriter, I was working in politics, I would have written his talking point to say, when it comes to AIPAC, I don't like the fact that they're coming for my members. They did a whole lie about Malinowski. They ran ads on Malinowski about ICE. Didn't have nothing to do with ICE. They just mad because he said that you could put conditions on aid to Israel. Israel's a foreign country. I'm an American politician. I don't think that there should be an organization that gives money or takes money away based on what you think about a foreign country. I only want to know what you think about America. You could just say that. That doesn't say anything, because Israel is not the Jewish people. There are more Jewish people in America than there are in Israel. They live in Europe. They live in Kazakhstan. They live everywhere. Okay, they don't just live there. So acting like, well, they're equal, they're the same thing. Zionism is a political ideology. It's not the Jewish people. Zionism is not Judaism. Zionism is a political ideology. So you can be against that and like lots and lots of lovely Jewish people. Get over it, politicians. I don't understand why this is so hard. They're making this so painful and weird. Don't make it weird. Just say I'm an American. I don't give a shit about this other foreign country. If they do bad things, I'm against them. The end.
It's just not that hard. It's just not that hard. It's
Come
like
on, for yourself.
They need to get it together. They need a Project 2028. They need some kind of plan.
They do.
And primarily, they need to, while they're out redrawing maps and fighting this and that, they need to figure out how to convince people who have, because their approval ratings are down, how to convince people that they're the answer, right? that they can actually beat Trump, or that they have a plan once they do to reverse all the shit that Trump has put into action. Specific. It's like, you know, what are you all planning? What are you doing?
Nothing.
We need
girl,
more.
Girl,
I'm glad you're with us, Joanne.
Girl, they're going to be bold. Come on now. They're going to do affordability and bold. They're going to do bold affordability. You know what they're going to do, Jackie? They're going to be bold about affordability, and then the affordability is going to also be bold. Bold, affordable, ability.
Wow. Beep bop boop.
Tita poo poo. And I'm awake again.
Well, let me say this about this.
Yeah, Jackie,
let me say this and that. Well, it's like I say. It's like Dr. Martin Luther King said. I think that people should be able to accept the money that they beep bop boop.
Beep bop boop. You know, and your list could be short, and we'll move on. Our list could be short. We're going to rip Donald Trump's name off of the Kennedy Center and reopen it as its original condition. We're going to, and I would say we're keeping a list and checking it twice. Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Tom Homan, all y'all little sons of bitches running around there knocking people over in the streets of Minneapolis and Chicago and everything. We keeping your names, and these prosecutions could go on 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I don't care when it happens. We're about to prosecute each and every one of you. All y'all going to be unemployed. DHS gone.
We care when it happens. Don't say that, because they'll Merrick Garland it. No, we care when it happens.
Yeah, they'll never do it.
Happen right away.
They'll never do it.
A month in office, indictment. Like, let's go. Let's serve them out.
Jack Smith.
Everybody.
Serve everybody for warrants.
Yep.
Warrants.
Everybody.
You may not be able to put Trump in jail, but you can put all the rest below him in jail.
You can put him in jail for something he did when he wasn't president. So you can go back to some things he did before he was elected. Look into that.
You can impound all that crypto stolen money and say, well, we gotta tie that up.
And you can investigate his kids and tie up that money. Get crafty, get creative, do it.
Something.
Don't do like some people were saying Joe Biden was going to pardon Trump if he was, I'm like, what? Why? Okay.
Democrats.
So we do have some hot topics to talk about today.
As if that wasn't hot enough.
That wasn't hot enough. Call us, Hakeem. You can come on here and talk anytime. We welcome you. But don't come with that bullshit. Okay.
And release all the Epstein files, damn it. I don't care if it's Democrats in it.
No, I don't either. Okay. So everybody has been buzzing about this new Tyra Banks, America's Next Top Model docu-series. Girl, it is so good. I know you watched it. I watched it. And the headline is, there's a lot of controversial things that happened during the show, and they talk about that. Tyra is interviewed in it, as well as both of the Jays. But here's the thing. Top Model is coming back for a new cycle. I think it's cycle 24.
Man, thank you, Jesus. God is good. Ain't he good?
Oh my goodness. It's only 3 parts, you guys. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Check it out. It is worth a watch. It is worth a watch. Miss J had me in tears.
I love both the Jays. Jay Manuel is, by the way, one of the nicest, like, as nice as you think he is, he's nicer than that. Like, he's such a sweetie. But I love Miss J. Alexander.
Who had a stroke.
Yes.
Who had a stroke and cannot walk after teaching so many women how to walk the catwalk. He cannot walk. And he did say in the documentary that Tyra has not come to see him yet, but he said that they've texted back and forth. Listen, Tyra, I give her credit for showing up and doing the interview, right?
Yes. Taking the tough
question throughout the documentary. But some of the things that happened on that show,
it's tough.
I hope that when it comes back, they decide to do it very differently, starting with counselors on set assigned to each girl. Each girl should have a life coach and counselor, and they should be able to pull out and not be a part of the show whenever they want to. They should also be a part of the editorial. I think the contestants should be a part of the editorial. They should be a part of, well, this is the storyline we have and we think, and you should close the gap in your teeth, or you should widen the gap, or whatever. And they should be able to say, I don't want to do that. There should be something in writing that says, we will not force you to do anything you do not want to do. And they say, okay, I'll get the gap. I'm not gonna, you know, close my gap, or what that comes up in the series, you guys. But I feel like it was a situation where they really took advantage of very young adults, young girls who were so excited about just reaching one of the big dreams, you know, being an athlete, being an actress, being a, you know, a singer or a musician, or being a model. Like it's up there with those things in entertainment and sports, right? Where it feels like it's going to be a lot of money. I can have this life. Listen, so many people we know want that. And so these girls have every right to chase after that. And they feel like if this show is going to do that for them, then okay, go for it. Now, some of them, I should say many of them, have had great success because they were on that show, but not everybody. Not everybody. But what'd you think of Tyra, what she had to say about the different things?
So I thought it was very brave of her, because she took a lot of heat. You know, I watched 2 out of the 3. My third one I'm firing up tonight. And it's, you know, I tried to binge it all, girl, but it was like midnight o'clock, and I was so tired that I was like, I can't. I was falling asleep. I was like, no, I need to see every second of this. So I said, I'm gonna leave it to tonight. But it's such a great series because it takes you behind the scenes. And one of the things it reveals is that it started out as being we're going to show you what happens behind the scenes in the modeling world. And then at some point it got twisted into, we're going to do blackface. We're going to do these crazy, outrageous, pretend these women are dead, and do all these just do these manipulative, crazy things. There was one woman who, you know, she had a firearms death in her own family, and they manipulated that to use it for the thing. They would find out their darkest secrets or their secrets and use their secrets on the show against them. But that's all reality TV. You did reality TV. You know that it can be very manipulative. What the thing I thought from Tyra is that I have to give her credit for being willing to face the negative truths about what she herself did and what she created. This was her creation. She created this show. The Asian American gentleman who was the showrunner, who was interesting. I didn't know the guy was Asian American, you know, and that created it. The two of them created this show. And the fact that everyone turned her down to do the show, every big network, she ends up on UPN, which was the Black network, right? That did all the Black shows. And then it was this out of control success. But the thing I will say, when you watch this show, y'all, think about the timeline. This show came out, in like 2000? It was like the turn of the 90s to the 2000s.
Right after American Idol came out.
So we're talking about like the early aughts. Y'all, this is 10 years after, 10 to 15 years after the Jeffrey Epstein era. Think of it. Now you can see, when you watch America's Top Model, go back and think about it. That's how all those girls ended up in Donald Trump's beauty pageants, in John Casablanca's modeling agency, in Jean-Luc Brunel's modeling agency. If you think that the girls who ended up being abused by Brunel and Casablancas, who ended up modeling for Trump in his teen beauty pageants, who ended up manipulated by Jeffrey Epstein, were from some other planet, just watch this show. Because this is the same era. It's slightly after that era. And so young women and young men have been drawn to these fame-seeking opportunities forever. It's always been that way. Hollywood has always been a place where there's a lot of sexual manipulation, and the modeling world as well. It's been very abusive, very manipulative all the time. But it's fascinating to me to go back and think about some of these shows anew, now knowing everything about Jeffrey Epstein and Trump and everyone, right? I think about it because I can never not think about politics. I'm now placing all this stuff in this era. Just like when I watched, when we interviewed R. Kelly's first known victim that was 14 years old. She was 14 years old in this era. You know what I mean? Like, she was a kid in the late 90s. So it's like this whole era, when you go back and think about the 90s, the late 80s to early 90s to early aughts, we thought it was the best era ever because everybody had money and opportunity. It was trash for women and young men.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I realized about that era too is you have to look at, and I'm not making excuses for Tyra Banks. I love that within this documentary, she owns it, right? She faces it. But I think you have to realize she was coming from a world of modeling, and that was her career. And now all of a sudden she's an executive producer in reality TV. There's a lot of competition that, you're dealing with Idol, where I mean, it used to break my heart how they used to just embarrass people who sang badly. And that was the storyline. Like Joanne said, I was on a reality television show for one season, but still it gave me enough of behind the scenes to understand how it works. Those girls should have been given the opportunity, like I said earlier, to make editorial decisions and be part of the storyline. You're young, you got producers in your ear, and you're blinded by, well, I want to be famous. And also for women, well, I don't want to make a fuss. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be. So when things happen, like they convinced to me that girl from the first cycle that she cheated on her boyfriend, when I'm like, was this girl just date raped?
She was date raped. I mean, you had, and this is at the end
the
of
video and everything that they had. And
they
it's like, but they convinced her. If you watch this, that was infuriating to me. It was like this girl was carrying on the narrative, like she was accepting this and saying, did you cheat? Yeah, I did. Then she went on Tyra's talk show years later, and the same thing happened.
Yeah.
As in, they brought that she had an opportunity to say, this is how I felt. And she didn't.
Yeah.
I felt like she was being overly polite in that moment. But reality TV is, you've got to learn how to make it work for you. You have to be very shrewd. And when you look at women who have been on the Housewives of Atlanta, and people like Bethany Frankel, they realize, okay, I'm going to make this work for me.
Yeah.
Let me present myself this way. Let me show. I remember when I was doing Let's Talk About Pep. Okay, so at that point, I still wanted to have children. And so there was a good friend of mine, and I can't remember how this came up, the actor Lamont Rucker, who's still such a good friend of mine. He was going to come on the show, and they wanted me, because this is how it came up. I said, well, I'm trying to figure out a friend of mine who I want to ask to go half on a baby. I know that'll be in the book. But they were saying, well, why don't you on the show on camera ask Lamont? And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I said, I don't want to ask that of him. That's not even in my plan. That I love him, right? I love him. But that's not what I wanted to do. And I said, the compromise was, I'll ask him, what would he say if I asked him that? You know what I mean? But the producers really were trying to push me. And we were lucky. We were with a great production company that cared about us, that listened to us. Left, Right. That's a production company. They were amazing. So it wasn't like I was forced to do anything that I didn't want to do. But I also was like, okay, let me find a way to work around this. I mean, the things that we did that I ended up doing on the show and all the girls were pre-planned. Yeah. I didn't happen to. There was like this sex massage group class you could go to. Everybody kept their clothes on. But they were like, I was going to do a story on it on Tom Joyner. I was telling them, they were like, well, let's get you to go to that class. I never would have gone on my own.
Right.
But it was great in front of the cameras and all the things. And so there's a story too. There's a lot of producing that goes on. If they let these young girls be in on that process, I think it'll go better. They were too into, let's embarrass them. Let's scare them. Let's do a gotcha moment. And it was, let's say cruel things. Let's say what people might be thinking. Let's tell them they're fat, even though they're a size 6.
Right. Yeah. You imagine size 6 was considered fat. And it's funny because I know that that's true because when I worked for a while in retail, in the copywriting world, the girls, the samples that they would have at Birdine's department store in Florida were all size 2. And so afterwards, if they were going to, and in order to get the girls in, they would cut the back of them. So if you wanted the clothes afterwards, all the clothes were cut in the back. None of us could wear them because, I was pretty skinny back then, but size 2 is like really skinny. And they would cut them in the back because they would want to cinch them in even more. Can you imagine having to cinch in a size 2 person? That's crazy, but that's how skinny they wanted it. Like their waists were like this small.
Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. So will you watch were you a big American Next Top?
Super fan. I never missed it. And again, all the scenarios that they showed, I had forgotten about the blackface one. I don't know how I put that out of my memory.
I did too. too.
I forgot that one, but all the other ones, I was like, ooh, I remember that. Ooh, I remember that. Ooh, I remember that. I was like, it was bringing me back, girl, because I was never missed it. It was one of my favorite shows. Because the thing about it was, we never really saw that many Black supermodels. It was Naomi Campbell, Tyra Banks, what is her name? Kathleen Johnson, I think her name. What was her name? The Beverly Johnson. And so they were so rare. And I used to get we used to get Ebony and Essence, and used to get the Ebony Fashion Fair, and I used to open up the pictures and paste them on my wall. So I always thought it was so fascinating, and I thought it was just such an interesting insight into behind the scenes of that world. So I used to watch it, absolutely.
And I love the diversity of the models on the show. I love the girls that they picked because they had I think they put into they gave the first trans
plus size models. Takara came from there.
Takara left early though. She left early.
She left early, but she's famous still. Like she
she's very famous. That's what I'm talking about. You don't have to even win if you're going to be in reality TV, you have to have a plan of how do I turn this 15 minutes of fame, how do I turn it into something? Right? A lot of people really don't think it through.
The smart ones on American Idol, there's some incredibly talented people who went through American Idol and you never heard from them again. Remember the Velvet Teddy Bear? Where did he go? You know what I mean? Like some of them, they go because they don't have a plan.
They don't have a plan.
The one show that I really don't like and I stopped watching it. I'm sorry. The show I stopped watching because I don't know anybody who's been famous from it. Is the one they turn the chairs. I don't watch that show because I'm like, they don't even know Voice. The Voice. Where's the stars from The Voice?
There's some.
I think there's one country star that came from it and nobody else.
There's I mean, not many, but there are some that are out that they like you see them come back to the show because I do watch The Voice. I really love the initial auditions. Like I do love The Voice. I did not watch it this season for the first time because Snoop is now a judge, and I'm very anti-Snoop.
I'm not trying to
so I didn't catch that, but. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely watch it when it comes back. America's Next Top Model is what we're.
They better be nicer to those girls.
Well, hopefully that's what I'm curious about. And if anything, they'll do a behind the scenes of the show to let us know what's going on behind the scenes.
Nikki Mark says she finds American Idol racist. I do too, because what they do is they let the Black girls go. Remember when Jennifer Hudson got cut?
That's all of them.
And they let all the Black girls who do all the best singing go a certain point, and then they cut them all and have only white people go forward. Even Elton John called them racist. Elton John said American Idol is racist. Remember, people got so mad at him.
I hate that Lionel Richie is on there. I love him so much, but I hate him being on that show. He's one of my favorite singers. I hate that he's a part of that. But yeah, to me, I stopped watching American Idol years ago because of how negative they were towards people who couldn't sing. And just how mean and cruel and how they work so hard to embarrass them. It just got to the point where it's just uncomfortable. I mean, it was fun at first with that guy. No. She bang. Oh my God. She bang. Like stuff like that was fun, but that guy was in on it. Like some people came there and they knew that they couldn't sing. They were just looking for their moment of fame, moment in the limelight. But I'm definitely going to watch it because I was a fan of the challenge of some of the challenges. And the challenges are good.
And I, by the way, I'm sorry. I was a Simon Cowell fan. I was, because I think he was the only one who was honest with them. I think the other ones lied to them. And I think that was not helpful to lie to somebody, because when he told you could sing, he really meant it, because he would tell you when you couldn't. The other ones to me were just playing like these people were and it's like, that person can't sing. Why you lying? Stop lying to them, especially the lady. What's her name? The straight up now tell me lady who she can't sing either.
Who, Paula?
Paula can't sing neither. Paula telling me I can sing. Paula can't.
Why is Paula Abdul catching strays?
I'm not. I mean, not that she's terrible. She's a good performer, but she's not like a vocalist. Like she's not like a Aretha Franklin type singer. She's like a J-Lo. She can carry a tune. No offense to J-Lo. God love you. Who's gorgeous, by the way. J-Lo's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So is Paula Abdul. Gorgeous women.
Straight up, now tell me, do you really want to love me forever? I guess it's someone who can't sing. I appreciate her.
You can definitely dance.
Let's move on. Let's talk about, yes, she can, and was a choreographer for Janet Jackson. Let's talk about Michael Jordan. Some people's favorite NBA player. He is, of course, retired. has a racing team that performed or competed in the Daytona 500 recently. And there was this moment after his team won where Michael Jordan can be seen doing something to a little boy that people have a problem with. There he is grabbing that little boy's backside and then rubbing his legs. And I'm telling you, people are upset about this. If you all have seen this, let us know in the comments what you think. Do you feel like Michael is being inappropriate here? Now, what they're saying is, I've read this in a couple of places. Now, NASCAR and no one, Michael Jordan, his team, no one's made a statement. What some people are saying, though, is that when they dumped a bucket of ice on this boy's father, that some of the ice went down his back and I don't know if somebody put it in his pants as a joke, but you can see the man standing next to the boy, looking back at what Michael is doing and laughing and smiling. And the little boy looks back and laughs and smiles. So I don't know why people are like, I don't understand what happened. I'd love to know what happened, but I don't think that there was anything nefarious going on. I don't think that Michael Jordan is secretly pleasuring himself with the buttocks of a little boy. I don't think that he's a secret pedophile. I think that sometimes people do things without thinking. I'd love to know what he was thinking here. But if that boy had ice and there was, I think a lot of times we see clips and we take it out of context. What is the context here? That's what I would like to know. But that's my 2 cents. But y'all ready to, oh God, he's a pedophile. Seriously. Don't make me fight you. Please tell me.
It just don't look right. So here,
it doesn't, but it's out of context.
This is what I would say. What they're saying is that, right, to your point, that he was trying to get ice out of the little boy's shirt.
And pants.
Out of his pants.
The boy's shirt was wet.
And the boy's shirt was wet.
Wait, hold on for a second. I have to say, people are like, nah, that was gross. Not my child. Not on my boy's butt cheek.
I'm just saying. Pro tip, don't touch nobody baby like that. Now look, Michael, you're supposed to know you're a grown man, you're older than me. You need to govern yourself accordingly with other people's children. Don't ever touch anywhere near their booty. Don't ever touch anywhere near below their waist. I don't care why it is. If there's somebody got to get ice out of that baby's back, let their daddy or their mommy do it. There is no reason for you to ever touch a child in that area. I don't care why you're doing it. If you're trying to be helpful, you need to let the mama or the daddy handle that. I know you probably thought you were being helpful, but as a parent, I don't even reach for anyone's child. If somebody's baby is crying, I'm not here, because people have done it to me. When my baby will be crying, they'd be like, oh, can I hold your baby? No, you can't hold my child. I don't know you. Even if you're Michael Jordan, you couldn't hold my child. And he was, and the fact that you must know you're on camera. And also you're Michael Jordan. Everyone is watching everything you do. It doesn't look right. It's never going to look right. It's bad. It's a bad idea. So I don't know what he was thinking in that moment, but if that's not your child, and even if it is, there's never a reason to put your hands below the waist of a child, period, unless you are their mommy or their daddy and you are changing their diaper. And that's it.
Yeah.
Don't touch other people's children. There it is. Authority Brain said, don't touch other people's children ever. The end.
I agree with you. It was inappropriate for him to do it. But I do think, again, context is needed, because I don't think that when we talk about Michael Jordan's career that we should say, and he was caught grabbing the ass of a kid after a NASCAR victory. And someone was asking what he has to do with NASCAR. He's a majority owner in the team that won the recent Daytona 500 race.
Why did somebody in the comments say Michael been away from us too long? Let me say something. Michael Jordan was never with us. Michael Jordan, he had to play on that black basketball team with a whole bunch of other black people, because that's who the best basketball players were. So he's like, I'm with them for that reason. And he was friends with, what's his name? Round Man or Rebound, Charles Barkley and, Kobe Bryant. He hung with them because they were famous. Michael Jordan said he trying to sell sneakers, but he didn't want to be political because white, conservatives buy sneakers too or something like that. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan's never been, politically very, very black. So you're right. He's probably maybe been away from the people for a little too long and thinks that he and an entire stadium full of non-Black people can get away with doing something like that. That's the other piece of it, Michael. I would say it, but it kind of goes without saying. You're the only Black person in that entire stadium, brother. Please don't touch that little white child.
Yeah, I don't really know what he was thinking, but if you look on the internet, people are vilifying him.
Somebody said, I don't care if the kid's on fire. See, let the mama put him out.
I mean, I don't know where the mother was, but I mean, my thing is, I don't think, even though he's not with us, think what you think about him. I don't think he should be vilified over this. Yes, it was a mistake. He shouldn't have done it. Don't touch other people's kids, blah, 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 blah. The man is not a pedophile. Like I said, he wasn't pleasuring himself while he was doing it. But people, if you look on the internet, they really have gone too far. And that's what I'm saying. I agree. It was inappropriate to touch that young boy that way. I understand that there maybe was a reason that we're not aware of that he did it. Still inappropriate. But my thing is, it doesn't mean that now we have to look at him as a sinister man. Like that this will be, and I think a lot, no, this is what is happening on the internet. Like this is everywhere. And people are like, oh my God, I didn't know he was like that. And oh my God, he's this, he's that, the name calling. I mean, it's out of control. I think it's, I think it's gone too far.
I think it's a form of behavior that happens when you get so comfortable outside the community that you start thinking you can behave in ways that are so outre for a Black man to behave. It's giving a little bit of kind of like hucklebuckery, where you think that you can be so goofily funny with a Black or the white child that I think he's just maybe lost touch with normal people reality, because I think your average brother ain't doing that. I mean, your average, I can't think of a brother who would, maybe like Byron Donalds might do. I'm sorry to say it that way, but I feel like if you're so rich and so famous and so whatever that you just feel like, I don't know. I just think in my opinion, the best bet is just don't ever touch anybody's child. And I'm not saying he's a pedophile.
Then we really want you to step in and save their lives. If they're about to get hit by a car, please grab them.
Oh no! If
they fall in water and can't swim,
by his shoulders and move him out the way, right?
If a child falls in a pool and can't swim, please don't go get its mother and say, "I don't touch other people's children."
Let that child out the pool. I'm not saying. I'm saying absolutely. If you see a child fall through the ice and you can grab him, grab that little child by his little shoulder blades and pull him up.
Or whatever, just grab
you
them.
Can save them. If you gotta grab him by the waistband and pull him up out the water because he's drowning, by all means. But that child wasn't dying from some ice in the back of his shirt. The ice on the shirt wasn't going to kill him. But I'll tell you what could be killing. Your reputation is what could be dying right now if you grab and start shaking that little boy's pants.
I don't think this should hurt his reputation, but that's just me. I feel like it's much ado about nothing, is my feeling.
Don't grab.
Let's talk about another NBA great, LeBron James, who is feeling the heat.
Somebody said lift him out the pool, no CPR.
Oh my God.
Do you guys watch The Gilded Age?
Person probably, a girl that moved on to another story.
Oh no, hold on. But I just have to say this. Y'all see The Gilded Age, right?
Yeah.
That scene when the Black doctor was trying to save the life of that white man. I probably held my breath for 5 straight minutes because I'm like, Lord, please don't let that white man die, because if that man dies, that brother getting lynched in New York in 1890. Because they're gonna blame him. If he dies, they're gonna be like, he killed him. The Negro killed him. Because that's why I was like, please let that white man live. Let the brother live.
Listen. Somebody said it's white people standing up for Michael Jordan like Jackie is. I listen. I'm not saying he's the greatest human being. I'm just saying y'all make something. Y'all ready to just it's too much to me sometimes. People make mistakes. Haven't we all?
You made a mistake. We've all made a mistake, but not that particular one.
Not that particular one, but I have made a mistake that I've made mistakes that I hope that people will overlook and not be like, oh my God, Amen. This defines who she is and her character. I think we go too far with that, but that's just my feeling. So LeBron James is under fire after he gave an interview or during an interview session at the NBA All-Star where someone asked him something about his fans in Israel. Do we have that clip, Camille?
I mean, if I have fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans over there, then I hope you have been following my career. I hope I inspire people over there to not only want to be great in sports, but I want to just be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. Like I said, I've never been over there, but I've heard nothing but great things, and I appreciate it.
So
I got no words.
This strikes me as someone who is ill-informed on it doesn't know nothing about the Middle East, ain't never spent 10 seconds thinking about Israel, Gaza, nothing over there. And he got set up. They set him up. I don't know why they asking LeBron James about no Israel. And they set him up because there is this thing now where a lot of athletes are wearing Free Gaza, are being pro-Palestinian. Young people are pro-Palestinian. And the pro-Israel side is desperate to have famous people on their side. So they asked him, and I guarantee he probably hasn't spent 2 seconds thinking about Israel, Gaza, or the rest of it. So he just answered a generic answer he would have given about Hungary, China, Bolivia. You know what? Peru sounds like a great place. If I have fans over there, I would love to go there. Sounds like he would have said the same thing if they had asked him about Mongolia. So I think in his, that is the one defense I have, is that he's just ignorant on the issue. But it is weird that a grown adult man in this point does not know about the genocide. But I mean, we just assume everybody pays attention to the issues, and a lot of people don't. My assumption is he just does not. When I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be worse than what I just heard. I don't think that brother think about the issues. Other than the issues he cares about, like he cared about Black Lives Matter, so he read up on it. But on this, he just doesn't think about it, doesn't care about it. I don't think he's specifically anti-Palestinian or anything. I think he just doesn't think about it. Ask him about Bolivia, he'll say the same shit.
I think it was such a missed opportunity. I do think that he's aware of it. This is my theory. I have no proof of this. I do think he's he's aware enough, like most people in the country, because he's on social media, right? And he's a father. I think he's paying attention to what's going on in the world. And we've heard him speak out about politics before. But I feel like for whatever reason, he has decided not to be political on this issue.
Yeah.
Right. On this issue or at this time in his life. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why he would make that decision. But I am one who, like, there are a lot of people who feel like basketball players should just play basketball. Actors should act, singers should sing. They should not weigh in on politics. But I know you and I feel very differently, and we have a high level of respect for people who are in sports and entertainment that are high profile because of some type of talent like that, and very popular. And they use that platform to speak out about ills in this country and around the world. I mean, much respect for people, walking red carpets and wearing pins in honor of Renee Good. When they were on recent red carpets, and girl, Mark Ruffalo is my hero, the way he speaks out, but there's so many others who do. Yeah. But I just, and so I don't think that he is in the dark on this. I think he made a choice. This is my theory, but I think it's very unfortunate. I think he has I feel like he can say what he wants. And I feel like he would say it so eloquently. Like, he's so well thought with the things that he does. I feel like he could say it in a way, like you were saying, the advice that you were giving to Hakeem, you say it, you get the right PR person and you get prepared for these questions, right? If they're asking athletes at the Olympics about what's going on in this country, then they're going to ask you. Be prepared for it. But I also feel like, to your point of him possibly just not being aware of what's going on in the world, I feel like a lot of entertainers and athletes need to, as they hire their agents and all these managers and chefs and personal trainers, they also need to hire an information coach.
Yes,
they need to have someone in their wheelhouse who every day they take a phone call with, or they take a meeting with, and they say, here's things going on in the world. It's like a briefing throughout your day. Y'all know an athlete, please, or an actor, so that you, even if you are well read,
yes,
it's good to have someone who is really up on issues to help inform any of the things that come out of your mouth. Whether you and it'll tell you whether or not, I should weigh in on this. Or maybe I'll be okay if I don't weigh on this, because they really should spend the money on that. And PR, no, somebody is saying it's not about PR manipulation. I thought somebody was going to say that doesn't a publicist do this? This is very different from what
they don't. And they don't do that. And you're absolutely right, because here's the thing. And a lot of publicists are also ignorant on issues, because his publicist should know every single athlete should be always prepared. Look at all of those Olympic athletes who were ready, steady. As soon as they were asked about what's happening in Minneapolis, they were ready to go. They didn't stutter or stammer. They all spoke out, and they were also eloquent. And so a lot of these publicists do not prepare these famous people for prime time, and especially somebody as political as LeBron. Again, somebody was saying he didn't have no place calling Trump a bum. Yeah, he did. Trump is a bum, and he should have called him a bum. Trump a bum then. He was a bum then. He's a bum now. I'll call him a bum too. And he was so passionate about Black Lives Matter that now he's out there and people expect him to have an opinion on everything. So his publicists, it's on them to say, hey, you might get asked about Israel. And ask him, what are your thoughts on the genocide in Gaza? What are your thoughts? What is your stance? What are you prepared to say? And I don't like the fact that a lot of these PR firms take a lot of money from these people. They get paid a lot of money, and they send these guys out there unprepared. I don't expect LeBron to be conversant on every issue. Just because I'm political doesn't mean he has to know everything. But I think his team failed him, are failing him. This is one of the issue that's on the top of mind for almost every one of his fans. Young people care about this. I'm sure Bronny knows about it. His son's age know about it. Come on now, bro. You not that old. You must be, you should take the time or at least have someone on your team when you're about to go and do a public appearance to say, here's some issues that might come up.
That's what I just said. That's what I just said. He needs to hire, they all do. They need an information person on their team to give them a briefing before they head out for their day, so they're well aware. And when things are happening, they're texting them with the information, possibly, working with the publicist to have a statement if anything is asked of them. I mean, they really, because I cannot believe that with everything that's happened across this country and how involved in politics he is and how big the whole, Israel-Palestine thing was during the election, that he just missed that. I mean, it was just everywhere on social media. So I don't know. I'm surprised. And I'd like to know the reason that he made that. I feel like it was a choice, because publicists think when you're a publicist for somebody like LeBron James, what the client says goes. And that publicist may not be up on these issues or may not care about these issues, right? Or they may be pro-Israel. So they were like, be sure and answer this question from this person. I mean, I don't know.
He could have got set up, y'all. I mean, and look, don't discount. I'm telling you, there was no reason. I want to hear the whole press conference. I don't see a reason to ask him about that. Why would you randomly ask him about your fans in Israel? I suspect a little bit of a setup, that someone was in that press pool who wanted to get a soundbite from a popular athlete about Israel. And he either didn't want to take the bait and just decided to whiff on it, or he didn't really care enough about it and just sort of brushed it off. But I don't think that if he didn't know that was coming, then they set him up. I'm just saying. They said this is the last question he answered. Sorry, but no. Why are you asking him that?
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing a pro-Israel pin. He wasn't wearing like a I love Israel jersey or waving an Israeli flag. So y'all saying out of nowhere, somebody in the audience just said, let me ask him how he feels about his fans in Israel.
Oh, I want to know why.
And I want to know who the journalist was that asked him. Why did they ask him? Because they wanted the soundbite that we just played so that they can either get, right, he could have said no comment, but his publicist needs to prepare him that there might be a ringer in that press pool that wants to make trouble for you since you're Mr. Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter people are who the Israeli government is targeting as being anti-Israel. They believe Black people are their problem. This has been said that they are fearful that young Black people are leading this pro-Palestinian movement. And so they want Black people to be on the spot on this. And they want them moved over toward Israel. And so this is a thing. Bibi Netanyahu has said it's a war of information. So I'm just saying, if you have a Black client, publicists, prepare them that there may be somebody out there trying to set them up the way that brother just got set up. Just saying.
We don't know he got set up, Joanne.
It feels like a setup to me. It feels
You're
like a
saying it
setup
like
to
it's
me.
fact.
It feels like
I'm just saying it could, like he could have been set up, is what you meant to say.
Could have been.
We don't know. We don't want to accuse reporters in the audience of being a part of something that they may not have been a part of. Now you firing shots at reporters.
I know.
Saying she was part of a setup, and I know that's
we don't know. We don't know who. So we don't know why they asked.
It's a weird question. For a fact.
It's a weird question. We don't know. We have no idea. I'm just saying.
You gonna have somebody in the barbershop saying it was a setup.
They set him up.
It was a setup.
No, it's just a vibe I have. It's just I'm saying.
Thank you for clarifying that. We do not know for a fact.
I don't know. I don't know who asked. I would like to hear the whole. As I said, I would like to hear the whole press conference and get the whole context of it. We don't know the context, and we don't know who asked it.
Right.
Saying.
So we don't know. We don't know what happened. We just would like to know more.
We just want more
information. And until we get those details, we have no proof that there was any setup. Okay.
Now we want to know. Yeah. Now, as a chat is saying, we now want to know. We want more.
Yeah. Well, y'all let us know. Dig into it and get back to us.
Yes.
It'll exist out there somewhere. Okay. So lastly, we're going to talk about this Game of Thrones prequel, Night of Seven Kingdoms, that you are watching and loving over on HBO. I have not seen it, but tell me, what do you love about it?
So the Night of Seven Kingdoms, it comes between House of the Dragon, which is the prequel, and Game of Thrones. So this is about 100 years, a little less than 100 years before Game of Thrones. The only character in common is one of the sons of the king that you don't see in this project. That is the Septon in Game of Thrones. There's no one else in Game of Thrones in it, but you're seeing the origins of that show, right? And it's fascinating. I personally love it. It's telling the story of the small folk, of the non-wealthy people, right? So it's giving you the backstory to those people so that you can kind of understand where they all came from. And Jackie is refusing to watch it, but I'm obsessed. Tiffany Cross and I were texting about it last night because we're both obsessed. We're both watching it. And what I love about it is, so the Targaryen family tree is the family tree that is at the center of Game of Thrones. And sort of in the middle of that family tree, this is where this show takes place. I love it. And I just like everything about it. I just think so. Sir Duncan is the lead character. He's just a regular dude who's a knight, but he's a hedge knight, meaning he's not a high-born knight. He's like a low-born knight. And he's fighting his way to try to be in these games so that he can become a real knight because his mentor is dead. And it's giving you his story and also the story of a little boy who, I'm not going to give a spoiler, turns out to be a very critical character in Game of Thrones. But in this show, he's just a little boy.
Oh, the Night King?
I'm not telling you who he is because I'm not into spoilers. I want you all to watch it if you love Game of Thrones. I didn't think House of the Dragon was that great, but this one gets back to the storytelling that we got used to in Game of Thrones. And I love it. It's making me sad already because, Game of Thrones, they write it to depress you. So it gets depressing by episode 5, but I love it. Why don't you love it?
Well, I won't watch it. I'm not watching. I didn't watch the House of Dragon show. I'm not watching this because I, as a diehard Game of Thrones fan, am still so pissed off about the way they ended it.
Yeah.
To kill Daenerys, to let all but one of the dragons to kill, the dragons, I mean, and then Bran all of a sudden now is capable of being king.
Yeah, he's never should have been king.
They botched the ending so badly. It's been written about. People have talked about it. This is just not my opinion. They ruined everything with that ending. And until that's made right,
until you do right by me,
that's made right, I can't watch it. I can't.
I agree with you that it was a botched ending. Ugh. That is very true. It was a botched ending. However, this is what I will say. I think that this show, right, and George is first of all, it's produced by George R.R. Martin, which I don't know if House of the Dragon was. I mean, Game of Thrones toward the end was definitely not. Toward the second half of Game of Thrones, they went off of the George R.R. Martin canon and they started freelancing. And the people who wrote Game of Thrones went off the George R.R. Martin canon, which is why it was so bad and ended so poorly. I think there's a chance, I hope, what I would like to happen is that they simply declare the second half of Game of Thrones to have all been a dream, say it never happened like they did on Dallas when that whole season turned out to be a dream, but we wasted our whole year watching. And they said it was just a dream, and just redo it. Because the reality is this Targaryen family is so fascinating, and the whole origins of them and the way you got some of it in House of the Dragon, which wasn't the best produced thing in the world, but at least it gave you context and information, because that's the way prequel to the back. Then this one is the middle prequel, so you really understand the family. Then when you watch Game of Thrones, you kind of really understand who the players are, baby. I'm telling you, it's so good. I highly recommend it. Y'all get it. It's on HBO Max. Watch it.
Y'all can tell me about it. I have to read this comment because you are going to die laughing. So Delta Diva IX said, oh shit, I just lost it. She said something about why can't Jackie, also why can't Jackie not contain herself? I'll put it up from giving spoilers. Although I know the show has been out for a long time. Come on.
She would listen. I'm telling you, Delta Diva X, she gonna give all the spoilers. There's nothing you can do to reform her. She's unreformable. She is going to spoil your show and tell you what happened at the end. She going to give you the ending. I've been living with this lady for, a dozen more years that she's been doing this to me. And it's never going to stop. I have to watch stuff fast because I have to finish reading this book because she's going to tell me how it ends. It's in our book club. I'm like, let me finish reading it because she's just going to tell me.
Yes, I do have to tell you. Oh
don't you dare.
No, but here's what I'll say about spoilers.
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense, really? We can't talk about the Sixth Sense.
Do not talk
about the boy is a ghost. No, he's not a ghost. Bruce Willis's character is a ghost. He's not real. From the beginning.
Now, if you never watched
he's a ghost. He died at the beginning and he comes back as a ghost. When Mark Wahlberg or Donnie Wahlberg shot him in the bathroom, that was him playing that role. He died. That's why his wife won't speak to him. That's why his wedding ring fell on the floor. He's not real. Come on, man.
Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Read This, Read That. I'm sorry if you have not seen The Sixth Sense, because now there's no point in watching it. You should just skip it. It's no point now. It's all over for you, and you should have watched it before you came on this podcast for Jackie Reid to spoil it for you. But we appreciate you all tuning in. Hopefully you'll hit like and subscribe.
Let me add.
No.
Steely reunites with her children in the color purple. Her children come back from Africa. They come back, and it's a great moment.
Until you do right by me, Jackie Reid, nothing you do is ever going to come to anything. Until you do right by me.
Michael Jordan's character in the first Black Panther, he dies. He dies. In the movie Sounder.
It's okay. We got it. We get it. Despite that, a display of spoiler insanity.
Diana Ross and Billy D. Williams, they get back together at the end. It's a beautiful
like and subscribe, or just give up. Give up on life. Or hit like and subscribe to this podcast. And also, if you still believe that she has a right to exist.
JJ got shot on Good Times, but he lived. But the daddy got killed. James dies on Good Times. The father, he doesn't make it to the end of the season.
I give up. I just give up on life. Forget it. Just forget it. VeganSexyCool.com. Subscribe to it because she's just going to tell you anyway how your vegan journey is going to end. It's not like it's going to be a mystery or a surprise. There'll be no surprises. If you're vegan, sexy, and cool, she'll just be like, let me tell you how this shit ends for you.
Genie
You
got
can
out of
also
the
subscribe
bottle.
to the
at the end
Jackie
of
Reid
I Dream of
Experience.
Genie. She got out of the bottle. And I Dream of Genie, she not in there no more. She got out.
The Jackie Reid Experience, where you can get more of this shit. Plus all the stories about her life that she'll also spoil for you. She's not going to leave any mystery. You're just going to know that how it ends. There's also Jackie's weekly health guide and health tips where she's just going to tell you like 10 years from now how healthy you're going to be if you just do these tips today. No mystery. No spoilers. Just all spoilers, actually. Not even it's just spoilers about your health. If you can if you can put up with this, am I going the right way? If you can put up with this on a weekly basis, go on and subscribe.
Y'all know who shot JR, right?
Oh my God. Can't even be reformed.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Somebody says, spoiler alert, Jackie is a hoot. She is a hoot. But I have to live with her. I have to live with this every day of my life.
Oh my God.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Ooh, oh my God, girl. That is, oh my God.
She is a spoiler cat. I am in pain right now. I'm in agony. But go on and subscribe to all of those things. Maybe if you do it, it'll keep her so busy she won't have time to issue spoilers to your favorite shows. How about that? Why don't you think about that for a minute?
On Blackish, there comes the time when Rainbow and Dre separate. He even moves to a new house, but they come back together when her father dies, and she calls him in the middle of the night. One of my favorite episodes.
If you also care to support me, you can also
wait, it's my part. That's my part. Please, you guys, support this one who didn't believe me when I told her that Bruce Willis was a ghost at the end. Go to joannereid.com. Just go there and go everywhere they say, she's got great writings and live videos and recorded videos.
What's somebody asking you who shot JR? You don't want to know. Go and watch it yourself.
Any questions about other TV shows, please bring them and I'll spoil it all. Just ask me. Somebody said I'm the female J. Anthony Brown. But go to joyannereid.com.
She is
follow her on YouTube for the Joy Reid Show, and don't forget tomorrow night she's going to really pay great tribute to Jesse Jackson, so be sure that you tune in for that, or at least go, if you can't make it live, go back and watch it, but just check that out. Somebody said Joy, your teeth are really coming along.
You gotta have faith.
Somebody said also the Dow is up
50,000. Everybody listen, Pamela Joe told you, don't worry about them Epstein files. And them girls got abused. That's okay. The Dow's at 50,000, baby. She said, don't worry about what Trump is doing behind the scenes with Jeffrey Epstein. Look at the Dow.
Oh my God.
50,000. 50,000 Dow. Somebody peed themselves in the chat. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys. We'll be back with more spoilers next week.
Madness next week. And until then, I'm so sorry. I apologize on behalf of Jackie Reid.
Do you want to talk about Charlie's Angels and how that ended?
Bye, everyone.